Okay, everybody, welcome. How are we doing today? Living the dream, best day of your life? Good. Chris is good. All right, guys.
Greatest day of my life, buddy.
There we go. Responsible for your own choices. I like it. All right. We're going to get started pretty quick here. All right. I was going to get into goals today, but I'm going to wait. We might get to it. But I wanted to address more of this fear and more of this time. The issues that are holding people back. I noticed a number of you are posting more now. That's awesome. Right on. How are we feeling? Getting out of the comfort zone? Good? Yeah? a little good, Chris? That's okay. Your daughter can learn from this too, Tim. All right. So I'll watch my language. I'll try. Somebody posted on my social media, I'd love to share your content, but you swear too much. Here's the thing about that. If you filter who you are, you won't deliver your message the same way. Remember that, guys, when you're trying to do this. And it's not because we can't improve. Sure, I could learn to swear a little less. It's just not my main focus right now. And I'm filtering my message if I swear less. So I'm just letting it happen. Here we go. Okay, guys, we're going to get rocking and rolling here. And I really, really want to attack fear more. I want to play a little game. Who here wants to come on with me and talk about what they're afraid of again? Let's try someone new. Come on, guys. Step out of your comfort zone. Dave, you want to come up? Let's do it. I love it.
Yeah. Hey, Cass. Biggest fear is losing my family right now. So certainly in a zone here, in a point in my life where I don't know exactly what's going to happen yet. And the biggest fear is fear of the unknown. And so just kind of worried about what's coming next, fear of losing my family, and fear of how I'm going to be able to kind of take the next step in life. Okay, so, and that fear, is that ruling your decision-making process? Is that ruling your idea of who you want to be as a man? Honestly, a little bit. I know since joining the program here just a couple of months ago, I've made tremendous progress, but Cass, I think my position here. My hearing's coming up here in a week, and I think that's really fueled a lot more of my fear. I've spent a lot of time with lawyers this week, more time than I care to shake a stick at, and more time than I really want to admit to. But it's just fearful just of that, and it's kind of changing me a little bit. I've had a rough time this week with stat responses, and I've been more in safe response, and so safe mode, and so I've worked real hard to try to be out of that. But I think as I kind of work through this process, it's just fear of what's going to happen come a week from Monday. All right, let's talk about this a little bit. So guys, if you don't know, I teach something called a safe reaction. So men and women, we protect ourselves with something called a safe reaction. It's an acronym. Okay, like the S would stand for sabotage. Sabotaging with your favorite coping mechanisms. Could be alcohol, could be work, could be porn, drugs, whatever it is, that you then sabotage yourself. And as we move through safe, we're just protecting ourselves. We're never moving ourselves forward. We're not protecting our partner, their feelings, their needs, whatever. And we're also not protecting our future. So I teach stat response, and that's what Dave's speaking about here. Okay. But let's dive into the fear a little bit, because that's exactly what this is all about, right? If we are protecting ourselves, if we're afraid of succeeding, of what the outcome's going to be when we're trying to be who we authentically want to be, then we're letting that filter come across you and over your life, over your personality, and you're therefore never going to have what you want anyway. So I spent a lot of time thinking about this yesterday because you guys are afraid. A lot of you are afraid, okay? Let's think about what momentum is for, okay? Dave's going to go to a hearing this week. Now, if Dave had been doing a lot of this sort of stuff that he's doing with momentum right now and is more, let's say, widely known, okay, that presents a different character, a different case. Maybe not necessarily in the courtroom, don't get me wrong, Dave. But your confidence, the way you speak to your lawyer, the way your lawyer feels confident about you then comes back across, right? Like, so what you have to understand is the more that you can address filtering you and pulling back the filter, not letting fear rule who you are, the more authentic you will be. You have to start weighing what the options are for you. Okay, let's think about this for a second. If I'm worried about the outcome for court and I'm worried about being, I'm going to just say best behavior.
Okay. Of course, you should be like that anyway, right? But if you think about whether you're dealing with an argument with your wife, okay, or whether you're dealing with what's going to happen with a divorce, or maybe you're right into court, okay, if you are trying to say all of a sudden, well, no, that's not who I am, that's not what I do. Let's say they talked about you drinking, right? Well, actually, I'm on day 47 of being sober. Like, they can't deny it. You're posting every day. I realize they could say you're lying, but if you are doing all the removals, all the ads, you're showing up, again, the confidence, you can tell you're not lying, right? Just like when you sort of speak with, you can tell everybody the sky is whatever, it's black, okay? And it's bright as day outside, okay? It's a super beautiful day. If you speak with confidence, people will listen and they will believe you. Okay, it's just the way it goes. They'll want to double take and double check. So when you start to address, am I going to hide who I am because I'm afraid of the outcome, or if I'm just going to show up and be who I want to be, what's more scary? I would dare say losing, not showing up with who you want to be because I was afraid to take a step forward is actually, or should be, more scary, right? Again, this doesn't have to be in court. This could be just having disagreements with your partner, guys. Okay? Let's say you're walking in through the front door and you're afraid to have a conversation. Most people dread the hard conversations. But if you think about it, right, if you have one emotion, your partner has another emotion, maybe multiple, okay, and you get through a hard conversation, what have you just done? Anybody guess? You have an emotional connection. It might not be ideal. It's not fun. It's not super exciting. But if you can come to a resolution, you had a connection during because you're not puking your feelings. You're not puking your needs. You're showing up authentically as who you are. So let's use what momentum is for here. Okay. I'm going to use drinking because it's super easy. Well, I'm just terrified because all you do is you always go back to drinking. I totally understand where you're coming from. Shut up. That's true. They're afraid. But deep down, you can appreciate where they're coming from because that's why you stopped drinking and why you put it on day 72, right? So what have you got to be afraid of? The person that they may or may not like, or the person that you don't like? What's more important? Because if you don't like you, and they can say, yeah, but you just might start drinking again, and you're just like, well, I just had a drink on, it's just Saturday. Well, my big relapse was on a Saturday. Typical day for drinking, right? So you guys, if you're afraid to do this, to take the step forward, I want you to weigh out the options. What am I more afraid of? Am I afraid of failing? Am I afraid of their approval? Am I afraid of the difficulty and the challenge? Am I afraid of their disapproval? Guys, those are two different things, right? Let's say you get healthy. We talked about this yesterday. People could get all mad at you if they want. What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of dying young because you don't want to get healthy? Certainly crosses my mind when I think of smoking. You know what I mean? Let's go through some more examples. Who else is afraid of something here when it comes to posting, putting themselves out there? Oh, Troy, your hand's up. Go ahead, bud.
You pretty much answered everything or responded to what I was thinking. It's just, it's ironic. It's like it's the fear of failure and success. If I fail, I don't want to do that. But if I succeed, I don't know what's coming with that success. Can I handle that? So you end up just being stagnant and being comfortable with the known versus trying to facing the unknown of either, again, the failure or success.
Wow, what a good one, guys. This is so common, and people don't ever realize it because they would never want to admit to themselves that I'm afraid of success. Have you guys ever heard about people who don't want to leave jail? Anybody ever heard of this? Where life is so comfortable and they know where they are. They know when it's meal time. They know when it's yard time. They know who to trust, who they can't trust, right? They know which guards are safe, which guards aren't safe. So they can have freedom right at their doorstep, right at their fingertips, and they don't want to take it because it's the fear of the unknown. Where they could go out and live actual freedom, we'll call that success, okay? But at least what they know is safe, right? So this is why I call it safe reactions. You'd rather protect yourself. Wouldn't that be if anybody here, I know some of you have been to jail, but anybody ever here thought about being in jail and thinking it's more safe here rather than wanting to get out? Can you imagine? If we haven't been to jail, we think, well, that's crazy talk. You'd want to go out and live your life, right? But people who have been to jail, depending on how long they've been there, that's what they know is safe. And you guys are in your own jail right now. When you're afraid of success, Troy, it's because you're afraid that you'll have to continue following through when it's hard. You'll have to continue to stand up when people shove their no in your face, meaning they disapprove. You'll have to continue to strive to fill your own cup, even when you hope your partner will support you and love you and want to appreciate what you're doing. And maybe they won't. Right? Isn't that all scary? So with fear, we're going to do more examples, guys. I want you to think about what's more scary.
Yeah.
Every day wondering what it's like coming home to, let's just say this, or the opportunity to have more because I'm willing to take a step. Maybe I'll get rejected. But what would be more important? The rejection, the lesson, every no leads to a yes. Finally, you're there, you have what you want, or not try, coasting, settling. I know, for example, a lot of the women that work with Kathryn, they'll just coast. Until they met Kathryn, they thought I'd just settle. This is my life. Think about that, guys. You look at the word we're using. I'm just going to settle. Anybody relate to how shitty that should actually feel? How many here feel like they're actually settling? And hey, guys, maybe your relationship, maybe your health, maybe your finances. Anything? Anybody? Steve?
Well, I'll try to Cass. I just feel like sometimes when you settle, it's kind of what got us right where we're at now. At least for me, kind of settling, getting comfortable in the relationship that I had with my wife for 25 years led me to, not keeping the compassion up and not keeping the interest up. Stop dating my wife, stopped doing fun things, quit leading in the house, that kind of a thing. So, that can lead to stagnation in the relationship.
100%. And so if you guys think about it, okay, one of the biggest reasons that I felt like this was the missing piece to my program and Kathryn's program was because what do people do? Things start to go well in the program, and then they go, oh, cool. I can just chill. I can just relax on the couch. Oh, I don't have to take care of whatever I was learning. I don't have to go finish and follow through on this, or this because I'm going to hang out with my partner. And I'm not saying, you guys know, Kathryn and I hang out together every day. Okay. But we still get all of our other poop done. But most people don't. That's why we talked about time. We'll do time again after too. But if you think about it, you're settling because you're taking what you can get, which you're latching onto whatever feels good in the moment instead of realizing, what am I more afraid of? I'm afraid of losing this moment, or am I more afraid of not ever achieving everything else I could ever have? This moment could be 1,000 times better. Remember we talked about TV shows, watching TV and having quality time? Not unless you're pressing pause and watch, like we watch The Love of the Blind right now, and it's taking us like 2 hours to watch one episode. Because we're talking, we're laughing. Kathryn was talking about if she was single, she could never go on that show. How many of you guys could even have that comfortable conversation without feeling insecure? Like, this is settling. Okay? Steven, go.
Okay. Talking about settling, and in 2019, I went on disability. A heart transplant. In 2020, I actually lost a leg. I'm still on disability, 4 years out. And to be honest, it's comfortable. The income is automatic and it's comfortable. Mm-hmm. And I know, even before that, I ran a home inspection business, and there were times that I would openly admit, yes, I am dangerously complacent. Mm. Life is, but it was happy. It was tolerable. You know, there were good days and there were bad days, but I had an idea. I knew I could and should do more. I didn't know what to do. And even right now, I don't know. The idea of stepping out into employment or in my own business or something again, and knowing that if I make half of what I'm getting from disability, they cut me off altogether. And then I've got to produce it all. It's either all or nothing. In order to cover what I've got now, counting insurance and everything, I would probably need to bring in $60 to $70,000 a year. And that's a pretty hard hit for somebody right now, for me anyway, to try to figure out how to do that since I've been out of economy and everything else that much. I don't know what's going on.
So he's scared. But hold on.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just don't know what options we have. Like my mind goes nuts, man. Give me a flex right now in the camera. Okay, dude. Hit the gym with one leg and fucking kick ass and show people what you're made of. Cutting out the bullshit, cutting out the crap. Show people that there's more to live for, even if it's just living life. Not even, how to get fit. Not just literally living to be grateful for who you are and what opportunity you have. You're still here. I don't know why you have no leg, but I'm just going to go with the fact you're still here. Okay?
Yeah, well, the leg was a complication in surgery. A blood clot killed my leg while I was getting heart transplant.
And you know how many people would relate to having a missing limb, having a blood clot, the surgery that you went through, and then just feel like life is over and do nothing with it? You guys don't need to know everything yet. You need to get started. I hope by the end of this, we actually spend some time turning this into profit for you. But right now, I'm seeing that's not even the priority. Right now is to get guys like Steven, guys, everyone here into the next step. Dude, you have such a wicked opportunity to inspire. I watched a woman, a young woman, doing what's called a pistol squat, one-legged squat, dumbbell or barbell here, down and up. And it was heavy, one-legged, not falling, straight up and down. I watched the same woman on another video, popped in my feed. She's doing clean and press. That's one-legged, bending over, pulling the bar up, flip, and press.
Is that chick that's one leg to stand on?
I have no idea. Cost my social media feed. I have no idea why, but it did. And listen, that chick is inspiring people. And with a name like that, that sounds phenomenal. That's a great name. Like, it's not hard to do this stuff, right? But we have to be willing to step out of the comfort zone. And the fear that you're feeling right now, Steven, or anybody that can relate to him, right? You start doing this. Mine goes in 19 different directions because we're insecure about the future. You're already doing math in your head with how much money you have to make instead of realizing right now, I just have to move. I just have to start. Some of you will go faster than others. Leah's doing a phenomenal job with her. She did a reel yesterday. It was phenomenal. I don't know if she's done a bunch of reels before, but I liked it. It's a hot topic. She delivered the message well, but she started already. Clearly, or else she's just really quick learner. I don't know. But there are people like you, Steven, and everybody that fits in his shoe, haha, gotcha. But the thing is, everybody has some sort of message to deliver. But Steve, see, think about where Steve is at right now, terrified. But then stop. Look at the rest of you who don't know your story yet. And you're going, well, fuck, of course, it's easy for Steve. He's only got one leg and a complication surgery. And you see how we can victimize ourselves so quickly. We all have a story.
I used to do it. And I got a story. It's hard for me to picture the future.
Don't worry so much about the future. I did that backwards on purpose because I wanted to put it in your head. Okay? We'll move forward. Okay? But what I'm seeing right now is we have to tackle certain issues that are preventing everybody from getting really started, really going. Some of you are so hung up on, we got to make a post rather than just try. There's a reason why I didn't tell you how to write a post yet, really. There's a reason why I didn't go through a script process at all, right? Because I want you guys to just start. I want you to realize that that's the biggest battle. It's just getting started and staying consistent, even if nobody looks at it. Now, that being said, a number of you with not even great posts, no offense. And we can't all win posts all the time, right? But some of you got some amazing comments coming in already for being inspired. Oh, hold up. I just got a message from Kathryn. We got a new dog. That's right. You heard it. Another one. She said, "This is my first time I'm going to beg for forgiveness, and then instead of ask for permission, I was like, just do whatever you want." But it's a dog. All right. Anyways, thanks for listening. So I lost my thoughts. Sorry, got excited about a dog. Where was I at, guys? Give it to me. Nobody was listening. I talked too much.
You were talking about having a story.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And
Being afraid to make a post.
Okay, thank you, Steve. That's exactly right. That's what we're seeing is the fear right now. If you guys all just speak like that for a second, look, boom, Steve, now you clear with how you can get started?
somewhat, a little more, yeah.
Okay. Remove something that's going to stop you from actually doing something like movement at a gym. I had you flex to start for a reason. Take a picture like that saying, you know what? I might have one leg, but I can make all this shit grow. I don't care. Easy. Done. There's your first post. Day 1, gym. And I'm removing whatever's holding you back, man. You know what's holding you back yet?
No, not really. I mean, other than mental block somewhere.
Well, the mental block, we have to kind of work our way through. Go look at the list. I think it's day 3. There's 25 things that you can remove. Guaranteed there's 1 to 10 things you can remove right now. Okay?
Yeah, probably. I'll look and see.
Check it out. Okay? I love it. Jason, go.
Yeah, I think I'm going to mix the fear and the settling things together.
Mm-hmm.
And, my fear is that I'm not settling, but my wife's fear of failure is making her settle for me and not trying to make herself love me again instead of, trusting and believing that this process is working and I'm changing and doing everything I can do to allow her to fall back in love with me.
I love this. I'll tell you why I love this, guys, because for the exact same reason that a lot of you are here, you found us because you found me because of my social media. You want your partner to look at you differently. Everybody agree? Okay. So the exact same thing that you want of her, I want of you right now. I want you to trust me that when you take these steps, she's going to look at you differently. He's going to look at you differently. Why? You guys have heard me say this, and I'll always say it. It's so important to understand. You will rise up, and they must meet you. If you're a 10, no 10 is with a 3. How a 3 happens is this. Most of you want your partner to look at you again. Okay? You still with me? Now, you rise up, and you become a 10. If you want your partner to look at you, you're feeling inadequate. Who here feels inadequate? That's a lot of hands. Thank you for your vulnerability. So if you feel like you're inadequate, you're looking up at your partner, okay? You hold them on this pedestal. I love that. Kathryn and I hold each other on the pedestal, but it wasn't always that way. She was looking down on me. Her word was repulsed. I took it as gross. Same fucking thing. And I was holding her on this pedestal, okay? And all we do then is smother our partner. We talked about that, I think, on day 1, okay? So when you rise up, you'll start to feel like your, let's say, 7 to 10 partner right now, okay? Whatever you're rating them as, you'll actually start, if they take this attitude that they're afraid to succeed, they're going to failure, they're going to start looking a lot lower than you. Not just their perspective, your perspective. It's actually one of the biggest challenges that men and women in our programs have. Because if their partner would rather hold on the past and is kind of mean, throwing shit. I always use the example in my program, slamming doors and smashing iPads. That's kind of fucking gross. If you know how to communicate and you're respectful and you're showing up, responding, not reacting. Who's acting like the child now? Anybody take a big guess? It's your 7 or 10 that you have on a pedestal right now. I'm going to use Dave for an example. Going to court, he's got kind of a bogus restraining order against him right now. It happens. He's going to go to court right now. He's going to do his thing. Okay? He's still showing up, rising up, even though it's a bogus order. You know what I mean? Who has more respect for themselves? Dave. Who's rising up then? Who's true? Who's a better human being? Dave. Lies and deceit will never be the same as truth and integrity. Then you follow through on all this stuff and you continue to rise up. Jason, your wife might be afraid right now. All of your partners might be like, I don't want to believe this. I don't think it's real. But when you're consistently up here, they have to meet you because it's clear.
I think one of the biggest ahas for me recently has been if she's going to end up trusting me again in the future, is I have to end up trusting myself first.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So I use the expression, if you want them to follow you, you need to lead yourself, right? This doesn't matter. Men, woman, I don't care. If you're the one involved, you're the one who wants to move things forward. There's only one couple that I know of that's doing this, and they've been watching our content, and they watch pieces of it every day. They're doing this together. Phenomenal. Most of us aren't that lucky when we're doing a growth journey. Somebody will say they're in. We all know what we're supposed to say. Yeah, I'm in. The work is in the implementation. Remember we talked about that? Okay. So I'm glad that you got that, because you have to trust yourself. The only way you can trust yourself is if you step forward and follow through on it. So I'm going to go back to Stephen for a second. We have this great talk, and this is really good. If next week we're still not doing anything with it, Steve, then we're never going to trust yourself. Well, then why would your partner trust you? You can't even lead yourself and you don't even trust yourself, right? It's okay to be real, struggling with the smoking thing, the booze, no problem. It's okay to be real, okay? But some things have got to move forward, and it's okay to be real saying, well, I'm still messing this up, right? Does that make sense?
So,
Serenity, go ahead.
Yeah.
Just on the back of what you're talking about, I had an emotional vomit last night after doing fairly well at being assertive without being overly passive aggressive. And one of the things that I'm learning and I'm not blaming or excusing, just as a learning tool, is being in this moral momentum now, trying to reassert my own strength to start growing again. There's a lot more that needs to be learned, because part of it is wanting to grow, but not at the expense of sabotaging my husband. So I don't want to grow by trampling all over him. I just want to grow. And last night was a very poor example of me trying to learn that growth, because I was absolutely in disorganized attachment last night, trying to express how I felt about something. And then I look at it today and I see, I made the repair attempt this morning, but I look at it like seeing, yes, I need to start taking charge of my life, my health, things like that again, because I'm going downhill since I've been married. But that doesn't mean that I need to emotionally vomit all over him and to put myself in a better place. I want him to come with me. So by pushing him away and driving him away, it's defeating the purpose, because I want him to grow with me. So part of this accountability that you're teaching us, I think, is to do with that. You can grow in spite of the circumstances with your partner. And we grow on our own and in our own strength, but without sabotaging them to do it.
Yeah,
and that's something I think is very important with this.
Yeah, I made a post today. It was actually my email as well. And it's like, your partner can be your why, but then they can't be your why not. Right. So as you rise up, if your partner's not ready, remember, everybody grows at different rates. Look at how many of you are struggling at different rates to post, to figure out what you want to post about, to figure out what you want to remove or add. That's all growth. We're 5 days in. This is the 5th day. We're all at different paces. So we can never hold our partner to our standard. We have to hold them to their standards. Now, if you rise up, you set the bar, but we use our strengths to lift our partner's negatives. And vice versa when you have a great partnership, right? That's why when I talk about leadership, I say men should lead. But doesn't matter if you're a woman here and your partner's not in, then you're the leader. And then if you really get into our programs, it's like, well, wait a minute. Kathryn's got wicked strengths that I could never master. And she knows that I have strengths that she can never master. And we lift each other. We don't have weaknesses. Which is why I could have a relapse and we could just move forward. Right? So this is a beautiful thing to understand. Thank you, Serenity. You need to hold yourself accountable so that if your partner has a different growth rate, we are not going to leave our partner behind. You know, ultimately, my gosh, I hope we don't have to say you don't check the boxes, it's never going to work. The idea would be to invite them. We say inspire, lead, ask, or invite, and then you might have to motivate with a boundary. We don't even want to talk about boundaries if we don't have to. Boundaries suck. Boundaries, no matter what, will come across negatively. So we try not to. So if we're not going to leave our partner behind, the only way we can do that for sure is to show proof of consistency and not sabotage by puking our feelings. This whole thing is beyond accountability, though. If you fill your own cup, you shouldn't have to puke your feelings. You should be able to be more patient. You should feel more calm. The anxiety, the stress, the depression, the insecurity should all be lighter in your world because you have self-worth, self-value. Does anybody here need a little self-worth and self-value? Probably every one of you, right? Even some of the strongest people here. I could always use more. We programmed ourselves from childhood, guys. It was given to us. We edited it. It got worse. You know, the reason we can still make mistakes and give ourselves grace is because we're talking about a blip in time compared to our entire life. So thank you for that, Serenity. It's awesome. I'd encourage you to continue with the more repair and just show up understanding that he's not on the same path as you. In fact, he's so skeptical. Gives you more motivation. When you think about fear, guys, of what Serenity's feeling with her spouse, right, versus what the alternative is. She can do all this work and then sabotage? No fucking way. She's working way too hard, right? And in this journey, she's discovering herself more than she ever thought possible, I think, right? You all have that in you. You're just like Steven. You just have to get it pulled out. Okay? All right, RJ, go.
Hey, Kat. I know you and I talked about this the other night a little bit. I just kind of wanted to reiterate kind of the aha moment I had, especially for this kind of momentum thing. Whenever you talked about filling your cup, it's beyond just, lack of fear. You're filling your cup. Well, something that kind of came to my mind, if who you could be is, say, like Superman, you're Superman, your kryptonite is going to be fear. And what was kind of, I would say God put it on my heart is that the antidote to that kryptonite of fear is faith, whether that's faith in Christ or faith in, the goodness in the world, that things are going to be okay. Whenever you're doing these posts and stuff like that, and people are validating your journey and are filling your cup, they're building your faith. And that's going to be like the antidote to that fear that's holding you back. And once that fear starts to go away, what's been happening for me, you'll start to realize just how much that fear is coloring all of your interactions, how the fear that the future is keeping you in your own head, preventing you from moving forward. And that, personally, I believe that's where, that's where the enemy, Satan, wants you to be. It wants you to be either depressed, living in the past, or living in the future, worrying about the future as opposed to being in the present moment where your strength is. So kind of wanted to reiterate that. And I see what you're saying about filling your cup. You're building your faith in yourself and what we're doing here. So that was kind of an aha moment for me and why I decided I'm gonna go ahead and start doing that too. I'm a little late coming into this, but
No, it's
I
all
wanted
good.
to express that.
You'll catch up. It's all good. So, if you guys think about what he's saying, and I say this too, I don't want you to have hope you're going to save your marriage. I want you to have faith you're going to have a successful, thriving marriage. And this program is about not having hope that you'll be better, not having hope that you'll be, able to follow through. And, I hope I can give up this and I hope I can add that. The goal is to believe in yourself. That's true faith. So if you guys want two very real examples, use the one that he talked about, faith in God. That's how it works. You have faith. You don't hope. You just have faith. If you want miracles to happen, you have faith. You trust. I want to put this into perspective for anybody who's not Christian. Okay? When you dated your partner in the beginning, you had faith. You didn't have hope. You literally did everything you could to make sure that you moved forward because you believed they were the one. But you lost the belief in yourself along the way because they were your validation. They were your approval. And or life got in the way. Right? Oh, crap, I'm disabled now. Fuck. Shit, diagnosed with ADHD. Fuck. Oh, man, I got a restraining order. Fuck. Oh, I drank again. Fuck. Damn it. Porn again. You see, guys, it's all the same shit. We beat ourselves up. We sit in the shame and the guilt instead of truly believing in who you are. We all fucked up. It's called sin for a reason. Okay? Now it's time to make sure that it's not about not sinning. It's about just moving forward so you can believe in yourself with faith, like Rich is talking about. Okay? Makes sense, guys? All right. Who else wants to go with fear? What else are you afraid of? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Tara, go. Your turn. Okay, she's being shy. Anybody else, or I'll move
I'll have a
on?
go, Pro.
Yeah,
I'll have a go.
go ahead.
I've only just joined in. What you got to share what your fears are.
Yeah.
Yeah, massive fear of failure. Huge fear of failure. That's what drove me a whole lot of my life of being nothing. And it took me a real long time to sort of harness it. But still to today, 100%. Even going through the reset at the beginning, I was fueled by failure. I wasn't going to be a divorcee. Thank God I got over it, and I'm fueled by wanting to be a better man now, and I got my relationship back. But yeah, mine's fear of failure. Fear of failure, fear of being nothing, fear of being just another person. I had a huge fear growing up, and that's what drove me to be so successful in business. Honestly, one of the biggest things, especially to do with my abusive past as a child, was I don't want to just be another face in the crowd. And so I have a massive fear of just not succeeding and being a failure.
I love this, guys. This is so ironic. I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of not succeeding, right? But yet we're afraid to take the leap, and so we fail anyway. Like if you think about it, how stupid is that?
How silly it is.
I'm literally going to have nothing that I want, or I'm not going to try, so I ensure that I have nothing that I want. Or what if you get everything you want?
Yeah. And the massive learning thing for me, like when I spoke to the guys on that business thing 4 months ago, is when I realized that all my failures added together became my success.
Yes.
The amount of times I had actually failed to be successful.
That's right.
You know, I added up a spreadsheet wrong. It was a failure. I did this wrong. I did that wrong. But I learned and I learned and I learned and I learned. Now I failed at my marriage. Like, fuck, I did. But guess what? Got a fucking great marriage now. So yeah, that was my big fear.
Thanks, Maddie. There are things that there's a lot of people that say this now. There's no such thing as failure because you learn. I'll tell you what, so we spent like $400,000 on our different coaches, degrees, certifications, programs, courses, books. We didn't learn from every single one of them everything that we did. Like, we took parts of it. So you could look at that like it's a waste of time, or you could look at it like, wow, if it wasn't for this section of that book or this thing that coach said, right? And then you put it together into the system that works for you. None of that would have happened if we were afraid to spend a little money and a little time. It's the same thing with what you're doing now. It doesn't matter how we look at this, however we spin it. Fear is your fuel now. I love that. I love that, James. It should be your fuel. Like, you literally should be afraid of the life you have. You hate it. Or the relationship you have. You don't like what it's looking like. You should be afraid of that. Everybody, think about how many years you have left. It's still a number of years for most of you. You can look at that like, oh, sweet, I have all this time in the world. I can take my time. Or you could say, not really, because life is really short and you're wasting your years right now. If you don't like something in your life, you should be afraid of the next 40 years of my life right now if you don't like it. Think about how many
You hit the nail on the head. Sorry, you hit the nail on the head there, buddy. If everybody looks at themselves here, I look through this Zoom call here, all of us are past halfway. Think about that, what Cash just said. All of us in here are past halfway. Some of us are even past 2/3. Really think about what the man is saying here. Like I bet you can all remember, every one of us can remember when we were 5 years old. But you can remember something when you were 5 or 6. Now have a look in the mirror and look at what age you are. Listen to what Cass is saying because he's fucking bang on.
Thank you. That's why I charge so much money. The point is, guys, is I really want to nip this fear in the butt. Some of you took big leaps here in the last few days. Good for you. Support each other. Find each other in the chat. Go support it. There's some of you guys are sharing your Instagram accounts right now. Share them. Go like them. Go follow them. Go comment. Go support each other because that will eliminate half your fear right there. Right? Remember yesterday I said something about, if one of you starts walking and somebody's really overweight and all of a sudden somebody's walking with you, you inspired them. That's going to be easy, but it's still true. No one's going to lie. Not in this program, right? So, guys, take the step. Serenity, go.
One that a lot of people probably don't think about that's always in the forefront of my mind because my dominant emotion is fear with anything new or anything old. Doesn't matter. I'm like Monk. Anyway, fear of success. And it's not just a fear of what if I become successful, what's going to happen? But in part of telling a little snippet of my story, I lived in a very binary world where it was black and white, and I had to be able to perform both ends of the spectrum at the same time. So I lived in a constant state of confusion. I had to succeed to make the family look good, but I could never do better than the family. So, like my mom had an 8th grade education, 5th grade, she says they just passed it through a couple of years. So when I was on the honor roll at high school, it was, look at my daughter, she's doing so great, makes the family look good, makes the dynamics look good inside the family, makes my mom feel like a good mother. But then when I got home, I got punished for being more successful than where she ever got. So it was a dynamic that was filtered into my mind that you will be punished if you succeed. And that kept me self-sabotaging for many years. And it took a lot of therapy for me to understand the dynamics of it and to be able to face off with those dynamics and say, what if I don't get punished anymore? What if I do succeed and I don't get punished for it? Then what? And the question is, I have no idea. I've never been there. So part of my journey is in challenging that thought about getting punished if I succeed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Almost always, that's sort of how it comes. So even if it wasn't an experience like yours, like my old man said to me, I don't remember, I think I was 23. He's like, you're not going to make the next Morrow millions. So for 18 years, I didn't ask for help. I literally said, I have to do this on my own. I have to prove it. And that was the biggest. I made 150 grand a year for 18 years. And then I hired a coach for 120 grand. And I made 120 grand in 8 weeks. I never looked back from hiring coaches. Right? Like sometimes the shit that we are taught by our parents in whatever the circumstances are, let's not, go tit for tat. The point is the programming guides us. Right? And when we just let it go, embracing what we truly want, I would encourage you to say, okay, cool, I know that now. I'm just going to never look back and move forward now. You know what I mean? Look back long enough to share your story, relate to the feelings so you can inspire somebody, but you don't need to dissect that crap. It just sucked. Now go get what you want. You know, everybody always wants to think about the past because it's we need to understand it. Not really. You need to understand what you want. Then you can go get what you want. That makes sense? Bill, go.
I think for me, Cass, it was it took me a little while to do that first post, and then now I'm like 3 posts in. But we decided to do it on this weight loss journey because I want to get back in shape. I put on a lot of weight when I was crashing my whole world, and when I took that first picture, it was real more like shame, because then when you take a picture of yourself and you put it out there for the world to see where I'm at, even though I've come 100 miles from where I was, it was more embarrassment and shame and fear of putting that out there, and that was the hardest. And that's still hard. I love going to the gym now, and I love working out, and I've made it a huge part of my life. But posting the pictures of me at the gym is the hardest thing. It's almost as hard as that first call I had with you about my relationship, when it was crashing. And it's way better now. But
Bill,
yeah,
this is thank you for bringing this up. This is massive, guys. Shame and guilt, right? If you think about it, you guys remember my story. It took me like 8 months to start telling more about the harm and the abuse towards Kathryn. Excuse me. I was also terrified, not just scared, I was terrified of upsetting Kathryn because we had come so far, right? And I did not want to upset her, but I knew that I had to share the truth, okay? And it took Kathryn a while. I said, I have to do this. Started posting more. And it took a little while to join in, okay, to be present with that. And you guys know some of the podcast episodes, she's not ready to air that story, okay? But go back to the beginning of it. Fuck, I was terrified to tell the story. I felt very defensive every time somebody was like, oh, you're so lucky you have her. You're so lucky she stayed with you. You're a terrible piece of shit. Whatever comments. I hated it. I was terrified. But I knew that if I could be vulnerable, it would help me let go of the shame, the guilt, the frustration with who I was, and the fear of not taking the final steps to get away from that. Because like what Bill just mentioned is exactly the same thing I went through too. I'm no longer ashamed. People can say whatever they want. I go, I'm just not that guy, even though I just made a mistake recently, right? Even though I had a relapse. I'm okay with that. It just fucking happened. I'm not proud of it. I made changes, so sober right away. But at the end of the day, I'm still going forward. Bill's still going forward. Guys, it's when you can let go of the shame, you get the faith that Rich was talking about. You get this inner strength that just allows you to take a step forward because no one can take that away from you if you have no shame and guilt for the mistakes that you made, for the way that you've acted because life sucked and was against you for a while. When we victimize ourselves. We end up doing stupid shit, saying stupid things, sending us all off in a terrible downward spiral. Or, think what Bill just said. Just put out there. He felt so ashamed and now it feels good. And did you catch it? He loves what he's doing. He loves it. Fuck, the guy's working out 2 hours a day. Maybe 2.5, I don't know. Goes twice a day. He loves it so much. Down 100 pounds plus. And see, again, I want to encourage you guys. Some of you are like, oh, yeah, but I don't have 100 pounds to lose. It's so easy for that guy. That's just what you're saying to make it hard on yourself because you're afraid. We all have a story. Is anybody still struggling with their story? Mercedes? Do you want to come on? No. I'll just ask a couple questions, okay? Do you have a career or are you a stay-at-home mom? Go 3 for mom, 2 for career. Okay. And do you feel like you have a ceiling over your head? You wish you could do more? The relationship is a little bit rocky? And you feel alone? So I want you to talk about that. How many kids you have? 4. 4 kids. That's already a lot. You can start to use my lines. I've got 2 tornadoes and 2 hurricanes. Okay? I think I did 2 and 3. But anyway, so just go with the fact that, like, it's a lot. And it's I'm sure some days you thought it would be different than having 4 kids and never having a break. Yeah, you know, I think. Do you know how many women would relate to that and just like to read your post if it was authentic and heartfelt? You know, especially if you started to spend a little bit of time, you suggested this podcast, you suggested this easy way to take care of the mess from the tornadoes at the kitchen table. You know, you suggested this bedtime story or this activity to get them a little tired before bed. But what would you be doing in this journey right now? Alleviating a lot of your own stress, creating a lot of pride, and being uplifted by uplifting others and connecting with your children more. I bet you that'd make things easier. I want you to look up Peace and Parenting on Instagram. Her name is Michelle Kenny. She's our parenting coach. She's phenomenal. And those of you struggling in a relationship, you can apply what she teaches for children to your relationship. A lot of empathy, compassion, let the feelings out, etc. Peace and Parenting, Michelle Kenny. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman. I bet you right there, you'd start to fill your cup a lot and start to inspire many, Mercedes. If you took that pressure from that ceiling coming down in your head, started to lift it a little bit. Probably get into a little bit of self-care with some of these things you're removing, some of these things you're adding. Boom, you have a story. Yours is so relatable. Doesn't matter how many moms are doing it, because there's people in your life that aren't seeing it. Okay? Can you do that? All right. Steve, did you have your hand up again?
I did. Talking about story, there's just so many different facets to the story, so many different angles. We could be talking about my marriage and how that's a mess right now. We could be talking about my tendency to be angry and out of control. We could talk about my medical adventure with the leg and the heart and all that. We could talk about a spiritual adventure, like I actually stopped watching porn about 6 or 8 weeks ago.
Good for you.
And you know, it has been a struggle all my life, but it's been about that long since I've seen any porn, and I don't feel like I want to go back to it. So, you know, there's so many different things that factor in, and it seems like to tell the story, you'd be zoned in on one or the other, and I don't know how in the world you'd tell the story that it make sense.
Okay.
To try to tell the whole story.
Let me. So those of you who are thinking about how we are waiting and wondering how we're going to bring this to business later, we can hone in on that as we go, right? And we're not going to, I believe you should not just listen to what the people say so you deliver, right? So maybe, for example, you start to really, you love how people are reaching out to you about quitting porn. There's not a lot of great resources for men feeling comfortable getting out of it, right? So maybe, I'm just making this up for you, but maybe that is something that you feel drawn to. Now, I know I want to help get you to help with the whole, hurting women thing, but you can tell the whole story and then pick as you go, or maybe you sell a PDF for each. The point is, all of it is part of who you are in your story. I gave Mercedes a few things, right? So it's just a few ideas off the top of my head, but when you know exactly what you're feeling, you've already just identified, I think 4, maybe there's 5 things there, right? So all of that is part of your story that can relate, somebody might relate to. And you could literally go with, one day you post about this, one day you post about that, and you just, maybe it's Monday, disability day, Tuesday, porn day. It doesn't even have to be that much. What I'm getting at though is if you want to really get out there, the more inspiring you want to be, which is for yourself. By the way, somebody posted, I hope this inspires you, and I hope I inspire people to try to keep it down. We want to just be like, come join me. But if you think about it, Steve, like don't pressure yourself for what do I talk about? How do I pick one? Think about it. So I focus on marriage because that's what I do, but I also can talk about health, and I also can talk about business. I also show my family. You know, I'm showing different hobbies here and there. It's all part of who I am, right? So I just encourage you to be all of you and real you, whatever. Especially the more you do this, guys, the more comfortable you'll just like. When I think about sending out a post or an email in the morning, when I write it up, I'm like, you know what, I need to talk about this today, and so I just do. Okay. We might hone in on that too with your wife too when we get on the call, because some of the stuff is easy for you to talk about, right? It's your business, right? Even if your wife's mad about you, say, for example, talking about porn, but some of the stuff is more personal for her, like what she might feel like, what it looks like for her. That's still her choice with some of the ways that things affected her or were done to her or whatever. Fair?
Right. Yeah. And I think we'll have a good meeting. I'm looking forward to that.
Good. I am too. All right. Okay, guys, I got 4 minutes today. I am going to cut it at 1 hour, but tell me if there's anybody else who wants to go through their fear, something they're settling on, or their story. Don't be shy. It's a song I'm writing for you.
Hey, Cass.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Where are you? There you are.
Hey, so I'm scared of getting it wrong and then ruining what I've made, even though it's not massive what I've got just now, but that is what I'm scared of, is ruining what I've got and getting it wrong.
Well, let's just play this out for a second, guys. 'Cause what a great thought. He's got a small account. He's been building his business. He wants to try to make sure he doesn't wreck it. It's his livelihood. Okay. At what point do you think posting about a healthy workout every day is going to wreck your hamburger business?
Because it's still burgers, not salad.
See, that's a limiting belief. Who gives a shit? Right? I'll give you an example. I owned a gym for 22 years. There's a guy who was on my call yesterday. On a call with me yesterday. He's all pissed off because I smoke. You can't sell health. Fuck, man. Doctors smoke. They've been doing it longer than I've been alive. So, like, give me a break. Like, at the end of the day, you are who you are. Right? That doesn't mean I don't know how to work out and eat right. I never said I'm going to teach you to have a pure body. But there are people on my calls with Kathryn and I that definitely know how to do the pure body thing. That's just in my thing. Okay? So you can do you. Right? Don't worry about that. I'll tell you something right now. If somebody didn't buy a hamburger because you posted about your health or you posted a motivational quote, you probably don't want to sell a hamburger to them. They're probably not fun people to be around. And if you don't have good people around you, you will be sucked down to the bullshit that has kept you stagnant, normal, basic for as long as you've lived. Right? Or some of you have been quite successful and lost it. Many times, that's the people you choose in your life. I didn't make this up. You're the sum of the 5 people in your circle. Right? So, Kathryn and I really believe in having more, but at the end of the day, we don't let anybody in that's not good, other than people that we're helping, of course. Right? So don't stress about that. If you are authentic and real, and somebody doesn't like you, you know what? For every one, eventually you're going to have way more people that do appreciate. Let me give you an example. As my social media grows, I might get 15 comments a day that I see on Facebook, for example, from nasty men. But then I might get 350 comments positivity. If I make a post about quitting alcohol or whatever it was, there's like 500 likes. No one said a bad thing about that. I think 2 people, but not bad, like just their real experience. Cool, they're being authentic. They're allowed to have an opinion. It's social media, right? So don't stress about that. It's a valid concern because you're worried about your paycheck. But that's not going to be what's going to provide a paycheck. Not that. Okay? When we do this right, it's going to make a lot of people want to come see you because your brand is you. All of you. Like every bit and part of you. You start showing that family of yours, the beautiful family, that marriage you saved, well, people will want that, especially if those shitty burgers we talk about. I always tell them to make it like the shitty burgers or something like that. But like, just the point is to stand on me different, right? And if you bring your family in, McDonald's ain't doing that with the family, dude.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to do that. That was a big one as well, because I've never posted about fun. It's always just about work.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's it. I've always just done, this is what food I do, this is what I do. It's never been the family. So that was even a big step, just mentioning them in a post and stuff like that.
You know, only way I would suggest being worried is like if you were like Greg's, I saw it was all holding a fish. Well, it'd be kind of weird to start throwing in workout, family, this book I'm reading, all of a sudden if every photo is somebody holding a fish, right? Business. So create a different account. But your account's not like that. Most people's isn't. Even mine, it was all just me talking. And I just started to post anyways, right? Didn't change anything. We kind of overthink it. There's bigger things at work here, guys, than trying to make sure our profile looks perfect, trying to make sure we don't lose followers or money or whatever. There's a way bigger thing here, because when you start to do this right, you're going to have so much gratitude. You're going to start giving so much, then all of a sudden the world comes back to you. It just does. This is something that you don't ever really understand until you've lived that life, because all the gurus talk about it, but it's really true. Once you start living in abundance, the world is abundant. It's just a beautiful thing. Okay. All right, guys. Today for homework, I want you to take a deep dive into every fear you have so that we can dissect this and squash it. Now, along those lines, I want you to do a post about, remember yesterday we talked about, how many of you guys did the post yesterday about this is my journey, is what I'm doing? There was only a few that I saw. How many of you guys did it? Be honest. Got one on the call here. Yeah. So if you didn't do that post, you got to do it. And then over the weekend, now I'll still be on the call next 2 days, but over the weekend, I want you to post, just tell some of your story. You know, use the example of Serenity's post where I talk about the fear. Talk about a feeling and what you're doing. So I'm going to use Steve for an example. List all that crap. You know, I don't like where I'm at in life. List these things. I'm doing something about it today. Get over your fear by doing something about it, by announcing it. That shame release that Bill was talking about. Thanks for that, Bill. If you let it out, what do you have to be ashamed of anymore? It's out. If somebody calls me a pussy online, do you think I give a fuck? I used to get defensive and I'd be like, well, whatever. My wife is all over me. She doesn't call me a pussy. Sometimes I'll still put a premeditated piece of content out about that, but I won't reply like that anymore. I usually just laugh and go, yep, I like cats. I give a fuck. You know what I mean? So just have the ability to just let it out. Can't be ashamed if you're like, if you tell the joke. Remember Chris Farley? He called himself fat more than anybody else did, and so everybody just laughed. I didn't make this up, guys. Okay. Everybody good? All right. Let me just see this last comment here. Okay. So James started doing some writing. Yeah. You know, like the fear of rejection, intimacy especially, changes men. I'm not sure about women, but it changes men, hands down. And I think it's the same for women. The reason why I say that is because I don't work with the women, but from the comments from the women in that perspective, I would dare say it's the same. But I think it would be rejection in general. Okay. I'd encourage you to think about intimacy on all levels. I call it the rejection ladder, and you climb up this ladder. Okay. If you can think about all of the levels of what you're looking for an intimate connection, you know, typically we're focused on needs if we get to physical. But if you think about the energy of walking into a home, who doesn't want to walk into a home and they know it's safe? We're not going to fight today. Everybody wants that. Who wants to know it's safe to cuddle and kiss their partner or just smile and not be like scowled at? So think about intimacy on all levels long before we worry about the stuff that's hurting the most. And go get what you need, because that should be needed to be long before sex should be needed too. Okay. Cool. All right, guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
You got it. See ya. See you guys.